do you guys use the 1, 2, 3 or the structure that you create for yourself as like some kind of indicator as to when you should get out there and play on the field when in dating?
Like, do I save women and then invest in women and
you know what?
Interest on women?
We are putting a spin on.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Jab ATL. I'm your host Tevin, and this is B, Rio, and Spartak. And today, they're gonna let us know Spartak and B while we're broke. All right. So, so
Speak for yourself.
I kind of snitched on myself, but they're gonna help us out. So Spartak, we're gonna start off with you, man. Tell us some basics, man. Like, what is something that, you know, I guess like some fundamentals of finance and why is it important? You know what I mean? Because to me, I'm just thinking like, hey, I'm paying my bills, I'm good. But apparently I'm not, right? Right. So give us like some type of like some guidelines or fundamentals to help us out.
All right, so like the first one that I would say is like living below our means. Like a lot of people like just way overshoot like what they really make.
Yeah.
Someone's making $3,000 a month and they're spending $3,000 a month, they're really not doing anything for themselves. Right. It's just they're not saving.
So when you say means, like, say you have $3,000 a month,
yeah.
Like, what do you feel like is living below your means in response to the $3,000 a month that's being made that month?
Yeah, so like it's good to have like some kind of emergency fund or some kind of savings. There's different ways of doing it. A lot of people will say save 10%. So like $3,000 a month, save at least $300 a month. Right. I'd go more like it depends on your age. If you're like in your 20s, you could probably get away with 7% or like even 5%. And it depends on what you're investing in. But if you're like older in your 40s and 50s, I would shoot more like 15-20%.
You're absolutely right, because a lot of people do live way beyond their means. Like you said, if they're making $3,000 a month, they're gonna spend $3,000 a month. They're spending $1,500 on rent, and then $1,500 or $700 on the car note, and then another $700 for their insurance. And their fridge is always empty, and their pockets are always gone.
Exactly.
Yeah. So don't just buy the PS5 when it's available.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right, because that's something I would be like, oh, it's here. You know what I'm saying? Let me get it.
For real, because I did that before. I've had like, okay, I got $500 right now in the bank account. All right, I'm about to buy that PS5.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
So,
I mean, that's an emotional spend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's actual term.
That's
actual term. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It's an emotional purchase, right, Spartak?
Yeah, man, you gotta think about that stuff. Like, if you're about to buy something, like I've thought about it before. Like, I'm big into dirt bikes and cars.
Yeah.
So, like, say like a brand new dirt bike's like $7,000. You can get a used one for around in the $2,000 to $1,000. So like sometimes I'll think about it. Like I'll be like, yeah, I can definitely afford it. I already messaged the guy. Can I actually afford it though? Like, can I? Like, is it a good purchase?
Right.
Like, if I buy this, or if I just save my money a little bit, put it in the stock market, maybe the stocks will pay for it within a few years. You know?
Exactly.
I don't know. I just think about like, what is your opportunity cost?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if the PS5 just dropped, they're not going to drop a PS6 for at least 3, 4, 5 years. So you have time. You have time to buy it. You don't have to get it as soon as your homie gets it because he broke too.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
True.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
We gotta save our money together.
Exactly.
It's just impulsive. You know, like they try to make a hype. Like,
So what? So how much time? Like, say for example, somebody they got the $500 in their bank right now. They're thinking, oh, I want to buy a PS5. How much time should they like spend thinking on that before you would feel like it's no longer just an impulse emotional
Good question. That's a good question.
I would first like write it down. Like write down all your bills, just how much you make and your bills.
Yeah.
And if you can truly afford it, if you can set aside, say you make, if you can set aside 10% and afford that PS5,
yeah,
probably go for it. But like still make sure like that emergency fund can cover stuff that doesn't like come up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably like the best choice.
So it sounds like you want to set up your emergency fund first.
Yes.
And then look at the 10% you're saving every month, and then after all of that, then probably buy the PS5.
Yeah, so like if you don't have an emergency fund in place, like say you get in a car wreck, right? And your insurance doesn't cover you because you were on your phone or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that could really screw someone's life so
Even
bad.
still, like maybe you got to pay a deductible to get it fixed.
Oh yeah.
Exactly, and you have like a
Yeah.
$2,000 deductible because you want cheap insurance. And some Americans don't have $2,000 in the bank. So they'll be like, oh, I need to pull a personal loan.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now you have debt.
Yeah.
You know.
But now you're trying to pay off this deductible, and you don't have any money in the bank, so you're sitting on $2K worth of debt from a lender with, I mean, a spot on lender. I mean, you're still gonna pay interest. You're trying to make all that money back now.
Right.
So now you're working to pay off a debt that you didn't even need to occur.
Right.
And then that money, say you borrow $2,000 at 10% interest every month. Say it's 10% over a year. In 1 year, they add on $200. Split that up by 12. They're adding almost like $20 a month on top of it.
Right.
And if it takes you like 2 years to pay it off, it was $2,400.
You paid almost double that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It just keeps adding up, and if you can't pay it within a certain amount of time, sometimes they do even more fees.
Yeah.
And then
Even more
sometimes
fees.
it's variable interest where it's like 24%.
Right.
Yeah.
Or it depends on your credit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'll hit your credit hard too if you don't pay it. You know, you're
Yeah.
looking at mad collections and whatnot, and you don't need that.
Right.
So just setting up an emergency fund. You know,
Yeah,
an emergency
just a few
fund is
$100 a
like
month.
a few $100 a month. It's nothing.
Yeah.
They basically have like a structure. I see what you're saying.
And
Just
you,
because you're making 2 bands a month do not mean you need to be in the sky rise at the top.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you can definitely do that by like some of the apps like Acorns. That's like one of the apps we use a lot.
Yeah.
You can do it like basic apps like Robinhood will, if you know what stocks you want. Say you make your $2,000 a month, right?
Yeah.
Or $3,000, whatever you make. You can have 10% go towards it. So you can have like, say every month you deduct $200 going towards your Acorns, and it'll round up all the spending you have. If you spend $99 on something, it'll round it up to $100. So $99.50, it'll round up to $100, and it'll put that 50 cents towards your purchase.
It's good that you mentioned that because a lot of times people ask me like, how do I even get started in stocks? Or, you know, I always hear stocks going around and what do I got to do to invest? And it's like, if you put some money aside, it's easy to invest. Acorn will put money aside for you. Robinhood will automatically invest in stocks for you. Vanguard.
All these auto invests will automatically pull it. And honestly, the best advice is put in the S&P 500. Just something easy that'll just slowly go up. The S&P 500, a basic understanding would be the top 500 companies in the U.S. That's literally it. Like,
So you're saying like put something in one of those companies.
Yeah.
Oh,
like Apple or
500.
Tesla or something like that.
Okay, well I got a good
That's
question.
stable.
I got a great question for you guys then.
Yeah.
All right. So to simplify all this, because all this stuff kind of seems like the different term stuff seems kind of like intimidating, right?
Yeah.
So if I wanted to start right now, let's say if I have 500, in my savings, right?
Yeah.
And I can start, my finance, journey, right? What are some things that I can do right now to set me up? You know what I mean? Like, what are like maybe top 3 things that I can implement that I can start kind of seeing I can change and increase in my savings?
Well, first, if that's your checking account, you need to open a savings account.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Heard that.
Secondly, like you said, find these apps. Find Robinhood. Find Webull. I mean, not Webull. Yeah, Webull.
Yeah.
And just look at the stocks. Look at the top 10, 500 stocks, whatever.
But what am I looking for though? Like
It'll show you automatically. It'll show you what the top stocks are, and you don't
all
have to
the top stocks. So all right,
Yeah.
find your top stocks, right, and then from
buy
there.
a share, buy a percentage of a share. You can pretty much invest how much ever
With
you
the
want.
dollar.
Yeah.
$5.
What's a good place to start? Like how much? Like if I was brain dead right now, and you just had control of my phone, and you was like, look, I'm gonna set Tevin up.
Honestly, I would say for me, what I do is 10% of my savings.
Okay, that's a good.
10%
That's something.
savings,
So
okay.
all right,
So
so
you have
Hard
$500.
number.
If you go 10% of that, it's $50.
Okay.
$50 into investing.
Okay.
Yep.
okay, so that's see, I like that. That's a tangible. That's something that you can implement right now.
And even
So-
even with that, say you don't got your emergency fund,
Yeah.
but you found Acorns and Webull and all these other apps.
Mm-hmm.
Do you invest first, or do you do your emergency fund first?
I would probably do the emergency fund first if you're a safe investor.
Definitely.
Okay.
Some people will go straight to stocks, or some people, for me, I don't have a full-blown emergency fund. Like, I don't keep money in a savings account. It's kind of bad sometimes, because when an emergency does happen, my stocks are liquid, but it's only within a week.
Exactly.
Okay.
So,
So
it
like-
takes a couple days to process. Is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Oh.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
say he has $1,000 in his stocks that he needs
Yeah.
to pay off his $1,000 deductible. In order for him to get that, it would take 3 to 5 business days for him to even get it into his account.
Oh.
And that's what it means to be liquid.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like how like liquid, like water, like how it travels. like how fast your money travels through like one place to another.
Oh, okay.
So like
Okay.
checking to like pull out your money, like say you want to pull out $500 from your checking account, that's very liquid. You can pull it right out, or savings account, very liquid.
So like a 20-year bond would not be liquid.
Exactly.
Oh.
That would be 20 years, extremely non-liquid.
Liquid like movement. Oh, I get it. Okay,
that's
cool.
That's
Is that what liquidity means? I hear people with glasses say that all the time. So is that what that means?
Yeah.
Liquidity? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's not the way me and my girl use it, but yeah.
Hey, okay.
But
All right, so I like that. So far, you guys said, get an app, a stock app, whatever, Acorns, Webull, right? Pick a top stock.
Right.
Then after that, take 10% and invest in it. All right. So what is that doing though? So what is that doing?
Theoretically, it's like giving you a second savings account.
Oh,
That's how I process it in my head.
Okay.
When you invest, it's money that's you're not gonna see. You're letting it pretty much accumulate on its own. It goes up and down. You say you got $50 in there. You put $10 here, $10 here, $10 here, $10 here. One's gonna go up, one's gonna go down. One goes go up, one's gonna go down. So pretty much your money's always gonna be in motion.
Right.
So either you're gonna get high gains, or you're gonna get like medium gains, maybe a couple losses. But if you have them in different stocks, your money's always gonna be moving.
Yeah.
So I look at it like you have money, backup money.
Right.
That when a rainy day and thunder clouds come out, and you need to move your money in 3 to 5 business days.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, gotcha.
So this setup is what they call a diverse portfolio.
Exactly.
Right? Diversity in portfolio.
And it's, so like stocks, when I think of it, is like a stock is like a part of a company. So if you believe in a company that's well managed and does really well, like say like you love Apple products.
Yeah.
And you think Apple is going to be the next big thing. So you buy a stock of it. That just means you own a very small percentage of that company.
Right.
So say this podcast, right? We're doing a podcast right now and you believe in our podcast. So you invest $1,000 with us. And we might not make crazy revenue right now, but in 5 years you think we're going to double in size.
Yeah.
So you grab your $1,000, give us $1,000. In 5 years, we give you your stock is now worth $2,000 because we doubled.
Right.
So then you can sell your piece of that company, and you have $2,000 now.
So
That's
basically,
what
doubled your
you put on
investment.
so what I'm hearing is that when you do look for stocks, you want to look into companies that are going to build their value over time, so that your money can build over value.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Which is why you go to the top companies, right?
Top 500.
Right. Okay. So that's all right. So that's one, right?
Which isn't
Okay.
always necessarily true, because there are plenty of companies that are on the rise that you'll see them pop up out of the blue.
Yeah.
You do have to look at their financials, and the best advice I would give for like new investors would be definitely just do the S&P 500. The ticker
same
symbol is
stocks.
SPY or VOO.
What are those? Those are stock names?
Yeah, it's like 3 little letters that when you look up the company, that's what like you type in.
Okay.
So SPY is like the S&P 500. So
Oh,
it's like
what you explained
the top
before.
500
Yeah.
stocks of the U.S. It's like little pieces of that, like all 500 stocks, like little fractions of each one.
Right.
So you're exposed to a lot of companies, and it's like most of the time it averages between 7 to 12% a year.
Okay.
So your $100 or your $1,000 might make you between $7 and $12 a year.
Oh.
So that's like your $100 coming back.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
So I got a question for other people in a different financial area.
Yeah.
So like you have the emergency fund, we have investing in the stocks, bonds, and annuities and stuff like that. So what about the person who is like heavily in debt, like heavy school debt? Should they take money from what they're putting towards their debt and put in an emergency fund or their stocks? Like with that added factor into it, how do we go about investing our money and like putting it in the right areas that it's supposed to be in?
Yeah, there's like 2 ways to go with that. So you can either go, it depends on your debt interest rate, or you can go just heavy straight on the debt. Like just pay off the debt as fast as possible. So say you're in $10,000 worth of debt, and the interest rate for that debt is 3%. Like that's very low debt. That's like a mortgage. That just means like, say it's $1,000, they'll charge you $30 per month, right? Or per year, $30 per year to borrow that money. Most of the time it's between 6% and like 20%, depending on what it is. 6% is like around a car. loan.
Yeah.
And say that debt is a car loan.
Yeah.
That you're heavy in debt in a car loan that's just killing you. So $10,000 at 6%, you're talking about $600 a year. If you have $10,000 but put in stocks and the stocks make you 10% instead of 6%, then 10 minus 6 gives you 4%. Right? That 4% is your stocks. So your stocks make you 4% with that 10,000. So you're actually making $400 a year because you put it in stocks rather than that debt. So you can use that $400 towards the debt as well as the 10,000 the next year. So you just profited $400.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like
and use
kind
that
of
for like your comfort zone. Use that for like, you know, accidents.
Yeah.
And shit.
Yeah, it's more high risk doing it
It is
that
high
way.
risk, yeah.
Or you could just head on, hit the debt.
Head on, hit your principal, pay your interest. You know.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
hit the principal first and pay on the debt.
Interesting.
The principal, like on a debt payment, it's your principal is what you borrowed. So
Yeah,
say you buy
exactly.
a car, right? And the car cost you $10,000,
Yeah.
but you owe the bank $12,000, and you're like, why do I owe $12,000? Because they added the interest.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you pay the principal,
You pay on that 10%, and when you call, because a lot of people do this, they'll start paying. Say it's a car note, they'll start paying on their car note. They'll call up, you know, I don't know, BMW, whatever, and they'll be like, you know, let me make this car payment or whatever. But they won't say, I want to make this payment on the principal.
I want to make an extra payment on my car, and boom, they pay it towards the interest rather than the actual payment.
Oh, there's a difference.
Yeah.
So you're not really.
So they still end up paying $12,000 instead of paying 10.
Yeah. So when you're the reason why you pay towards the principal is, so that $12,000. If you pay it towards the principal, you just made $1,000 payment towards the principal. It goes to $9,000, but it's the same interest rate. Say it's
Exactly.
5%. So instead of charging you $500 that year, they're gonna charge you like $400 and something else.
Yeah.
Because it
lowered the interest because it's lowering the amount that they're
borrowing.
they're
Right.
borrowing.
So when you're on the phone and you're about to pay your bill, you know, hey, I'm paying my car note. Do you explicitly say
I wanna
put
say
it towards the
You have
principal?
to say,
Yes,
let me
put
pay
it-
you on the principal because they get over on a lot of Americans doing that by saying, by people just calling in and say, I want to pay my car note or I want to make an extra payment this month.
Oh wow.
And all you're doing is paying on your interest.
Yeah, and that's a big thing on like personal finance. Like people really do need to watch everything that they do.
Yeah.
But
That's kind of dirty, but
It's kind of like, dang, I have to check my pockets now.
all right. So all
There's
right.
another route too. Bankruptcy. You can climb bankruptcy, but I wouldn't advise it ever.
Right.
yeah,
Because it's going to destroy your credit and you're going to be in the toilet for a while.
Dang.
And that lasts for like 7 years, don't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sure, it wipes all your debt or whatever, but you're not going to be able to buy a home. And it's a lot of things you're just going to be struggling for.
Right.
yeah.
So, all right. So we discussed, like the first, I guess, fundamental thing we could do to get started, which is stocks, right? So, what would you guys say is number 2, like something that you can do right now, to, start your finance journey?
If you're a working class person, you can always start listing in your retirement. And once it gets to a certain age, you can start borrowing against it.
Yeah.
So is that like the 401k type stuff? Or?
Is that like
That's the Roth IRA.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Oh wait, what is that? I ain't never heard that.
Yeah.
Bartek.
So like a Roth IRA, so there's a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is like, say you make your paycheck and you work somewhere, you make $1,000 on your paycheck. A Roth IRA, they're gonna tax you at your income level. Say your tax is 20%. So your $1,000 will be taxed at 20% on your income tax.
Exactly.
So it'll be what, $800 going towards this Roth IRA. Later on in life, I think it's 59 years and a half you can pull this out, but it's tax free when you pull out the money. A traditional IRA.
Now, with that age, is that with respect of how long you've been working there, or is it like I work a job at 59, I can take out any IRA or anything out of my money?
Yeah, so you have to work there. I believe it's 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years to start or to get started borrowing.
Yeah. And then at 59 and a half, you can take out that money. It's yours. Like, you can take out that money.
Yeah, so you don't have to be necessarily working there for 25 years or
Okay.
whatever.
Yeah.
To start borrowing. You can start borrowing after 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's 2 years on most companies. Like they'll give you a Roth after the first year, or some of them will be, you have to work full time, or I think it's like 35 hours to get a Roth. I think it's like 2 years before you can start borrowing against it.
It is, yeah.
But a Roth IRA is literally just you get taxed on what you put in before, and then when you pull it out, you don't get taxed. When you need it for retirement, when you're pulling out that money, you don't get taxed. A traditional IRA is you have $1,000, you put in your $1,000, but when you're pulling it out, I think it's when you're 62 and a half on a traditional, you get taxed. And the thing is, taxes change over time. So the theory is with the Roth, it's only 20% tax because I'm young, I don't make that much money, so I'm at a 20% tax bracket. But 50 years from now, I could be a millionaire taxed at 40%.
Exactly.
So it's like people go with the Roth. Most people go with the Roth. The traditional is like you put money in right now, and then later on you could be a millionaire, and then you get taxed a lot more pulling it out.
So what would be, are there any benefits as far, I guess, like pros in getting a traditional Roth? Like,
Yeah, it just really depends. I believe with a traditional Roth you can borrow against it as well. But if you're already making really good money in the beginning and you get a traditional Roth, you can pretty much be within the same tax bracket and you can have more money contributed towards it. That's like a big benefit.
Yeah,
If the
that's
market's
big.
growing like crazy, you could be making a lot more compound interest.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. So, okay. So
That's
that we
something
got.
you can do now.
Right.
If you've already been working at a company for 2 years,
Yeah.
you can go ahead and open up a Roth.
20 minutes.
All right. So, all right. I have those prerequisites. So I will say, okay. So step one, stocks. Step two, Roth. Right. Now, what's the third
Step
thing?
one was the emergency fund.
Yeah.
Oh,
emergency
see, I ain't
fund.
listening.
The emergency fund, and then it was the stocks, and then what was the last? The third
Roth.
one?
Roth.
Roth.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got another thing. So a big thing that's been like blowing up within the last 5-10 years is cryptocurrencies.
Yeah.
So how do you choose between investing in cryptocurrency versus investing in stocks?
Yep. So that would be like diversity in like your profile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like
Oh, that's a form of it.
yeah, it's like your
So do you,
portfolio.
so do people even like look at it as different as far as like cryptocurrency and stocks? Or you would put that in under the same umbrella?
I think it's different.
It
I
is
believe it's
different, but on most platforms where you can invest in stocks, they will also give you availability to buy crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of why they get bundled together like that.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people don't understand crypto. That's the big thing. There's so many different cryptos
Yeah.
claiming so many different things.
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Like when you're buying stocks, you're pretty much investing in a company. So you're looking at like a gas stock that it might be BP.
Yeah.
You know, you're investing into their company
Yep.
versus a crypto, which already typically has a fluctuating balance, like Bitcoin or something, where they're mining it and whatnot, and it has a specific amount.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's different.
fixed.
Yeah.
So why do people say crypto is like gambling? I've heard that on the internet.
It's if
Talk
a
to me.
coin is not worth its true value. So like when you invest in a company, like say you buy a piece of Amazon. Amazon brings value. Everyone uses Amazon. If you
Oh,
want
okay, I
something
get it.
right away,
Okay.
you have it. That is a real company. It's
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Bitcoin. What is a Bitcoin? It's like you're mining something that's like a
That's like blockchain
decentralized.
technology, right?
Yeah, it's like part of the blockchain where it like verifies your payments and stuff, but it's like it's very hard to prove its value compared to a company. That's why
Right.
when there's a new crypto, it fluctuates like crazy.
Yeah.
The volatility, like you'll look at a chart and it's just going up and down because it's sometimes there's a fixed amount for it, but what is it really worth?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kind of hard to
exactly.
explain a crypto because it depends so much.
Yeah, it depends so much on users and whether it has true value. Versus a company where you know that the value is right there. Is you got solid proof. There's a gas station right there. You know?
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is
That's
that
interesting.
stocks, they have something that they can provide, like a service or a product, whereas cryptocurrencies don't provide anything.
I guess it would depend on the application.
It
right?
depends on the crypto. Some cryptos are used for transferring money. Some cryptos are
Yeah.
used for services. Some companies make their own crypto. And there's like a supply and demand thing as well on some cryptos.
Mm.
So like there's some companies that will literally make their own crypto and give their employees crypto as rewards.
Yeah.
And bring value. It's just because crypto, it's a little safer to transfer. I don't know. It just doesn't hit a bank. It's decentralized, so it really just.
And what does that mean? Because I hear people say that, oh, it's decentralized, and it's like a big thing to be excited about. What does that even mean?
Yeah. So like, it's not printed on anything. So like,
Oh,
it means like, the bank, like say, $1 bill, right? Inflation hits this $1 bill, and it's only worth, say 70 cents, 30% inflation, like crazy inflation. It's only worth this much.
Yeah.
When you have crypto, it's like it's not really affected by inflation because it's
its own currency.
yeah, it's its own currency.
Oh, I get it.
And there's only a set amount of them, while the government has a printer.
Yeah.
They can print out
Just
more
print all that
cash,
stuff.
or they can burn cash because they have to burn a certain amount of cash every year.
Exactly.
And they also have to print a certain amount. And when they go crazy with printing, like they did last year,
You get inflation.
well, yeah, like we are right
That's
now.
what happened in Germany.
Yep, Germany after World War
Yeah.
II, right? Or World War One.
Yeah, they said that I went to Germany and I talked to somebody who was living around that time. They said one day they would go to the grocery store where it would be $5. The next day it would be $100, and I was like, wow, I couldn't even.
Yeah,
really
they would do like
understand.
wheelbarrows of
Yeah.
cash. I heard.
Yeah. Germany's like that. I don't know if y'all know, but Zimbabwe was like that too. Where they had they literally printed
Venezuela.
bills. Yeah, that said $100 million
Yep.
on one bill, and it can only buy you like an apple.
Yeah,
What the?
Venezuela is like
Yeah.
that right now.
yeah, it is.
It's just kind of crazy, but like it's possible that we hit something like that with just hyperinflation.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But that's why crypto, Venezuela is trying to start doing crypto as well,
Exactly.
just because it doesn't fluctuate because of the government.
Yeah.
exactly.
So it's just more like there's a certain amount and it's worth this much. If someone has more than you, it's going to be worth most likely this much.
Right.
But those are safer cryptos because,
Safer,
like you said,
yeah.
there are cryptos that companies literally create that bounce up and down from their value.
And how would you determine the safety of a crypto? Is it like the amount of people who are using it?
I mean, you could go off of that, but I mean, typically when you go into one of these apps like Robinhood or Webull, you'll see they'll give you a projection of what their stocks have already done prior to you even signing up.
Yeah.
And if you see it's going up and down, then you kind of have an idea of how it's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah. It
Well, I
depends
do-
on the volume. Like Rio was saying, like it does depend on how many people are using it and if it's useful. If it's a useful crypto. If Bitcoin's extremely useful. There's Bitcoin ATMs all over the
Yeah, I've
place.
seen
A lot
that,
of places use Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I think Tesla, you can buy Tesla with Bitcoin, and people are familiar with it. So that will probably go up in value later on.
Exactly.
It just depends on how much value brings.
Makes sense. All right, so I've noticed the nature of this conversation with when it comes down to finance. It seems very defensive in nature. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know, if things go wrong, you have an emergency. You know what I mean? When you're done with your work career, you know what I mean? You have your retirement. So it seems very defensive in nature, right? So I have to ask you guys how to go on the offense, meaning like how do I, you know, take these principles and I guess to try to catapult me forward to become like the people that we see on social media. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to be like.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
You trying to be the quarterback now? You trying?
Absolutely.
Okay, I got you.
I got the fundamentals. Why not?
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So first off, you gotta have steps 1, 2, 3. You can't
Okay.
can't not have the savings account, and you can't have them. You can't not have your stocks invested, and you can't not have your Roth IRA. You have all three of those, then it's cool for you to go ahead. Let me invest a little bit more. Let me put more into my savings. Let me put more into my Roth. Let me put more into my stocks. I need your portfolio is gonna be looking good. Instead of you sitting on 5,000, you're gonna be sitting on 10,000, 7,000,
Right.
15,000, and then you can ball out a little bit if you want to.
So that 1, 2, 3 is important.
Definitely,
1,
you
2,
have
3.
those are your basics. Those are your
Okay.
fundamentals.
Gotcha.
If you have those three, honestly, you set yourself up for success. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like the big thing is having extra time. Like it's not about making so much money. It's about making money and having that free time later on in life.
Right.
It's like delayed gratification.
Yeah.
So the
that's
money
what that's
affords you the free time is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
like later on, like say that 10 goes to 20, 40, 60, 80, 100,000. At $100,000 and you're looking at a 7% return every year, you're making about $7,000 to $10,000. that'd be pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Americans are working for money. At that point, when you finish 1, 2, 3, you want your money working for you.
Yeah.
Exactly. When your money is working for you more than your full-time job, like if you have $200,000 to $400,000, it sounds like a lot, but in 20 years or 10 years, it's just insane how much you can do with that. $20,000 at 10% return. $200,000 at 10% return is $20,000.
So the 1, 2, 3, you do the 1, 2, 3, and then that is what you use to kind of like as your springboard into having your own free time that he was talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
That's,
Okay.
Yeah, that's the basis for like financial freedom.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You need those things.
Yeah.
If you don't have those things set up, you're already planning to fail. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Get those 3 things set up, and then you can be the quarterback and the wide receiver, and you can get yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, you pretty much letting your money run over you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got another question for the, people do want to be the quarterback and the wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
So, and people want to ball like them.
Yeah.
So when it comes to balling like the wide receiver or the quarterback in the dating game, do you guys use the 1, 2, 3 or the structure that you create for yourself as like some kind of indicator as to when you should get out there and play on the field when in dating?
Like, do I save women and then invest in women and then
You know what?
put
This
interest on women?
we are putting a spin on this. Possible. but just using the whole the 1, 2, 3 and saying, okay, do you want my 1, 2, 3 set then date, or should
It
you
would
date
be
and do at the
smart.
same time, or
It would be smart to do that, but I feel like realistically none of us do.
true?
Yeah.
Because we see a girl or whatever, and we're like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Right.
We're not, because honestly, when you have the 1, 2, 3, it's really on autopilot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
It's on its own. You shouldn't be
Okay.
thinking about it. You shouldn't be like, oh, but that just pulled out $200 from my stocks. If it's hurting you inside to pull out that much money from your stocks, pull out less money and put it in your stocks.
Yeah.
Like, you should be comfortable with what money you're setting aside towards your stocks.
Right.
If you can't afford to put 10% of your income, put 5.
Yeah.
It's just all about that habit. Now, if this girl is draining you, like sucking you dry from your money, it's gonna hurt.
I hope
Yeah.
not.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that
And if you have
Don't.
a girl that's on the same shit, then you guys can do it together.
Yeah,
true.
be extremely powerful.
So what I'm hearing is that don't necessarily save to a percentage amount. Save to what makes you comfortable.
Exactly.
Comfortable.
Okay, so if you can only do if you live in paycheck to paycheck and then can only do 2% instead of the 10,
That's
then do the
fine.
2%.
Yeah, just as long as you have the habits.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't even have habits like that.
Yeah.
But as long as you have a habit, then your income might grow, but you still have that habit.
Right.
Hey, now I can do like 4%, 6%, 10%.
Exactly.
You still have that habit. Now when you make $10,000 out of nowhere, you win the lottery, you make $10,000, a lot of people would just blow that right away. For me, I would probably put $8,000 in stocks and savings and then use $2,000 for fun money.
Exactly.
It's just like how you think of money.
That's interesting because I know personally a lot of people who would get that kind of money and be like, all of it's fun money. Instead of
Yeah.
saying, I'm going to put some here, here, here,
Yeah,
here.
you got to control yourself. I think the hardest thing like you will ever face is probably controlling your emotions. It's probably just delaying yourself from buying that one thing.
Yeah.
Because you can afford it doesn't mean you need to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like-
you want $100,000 or from whatever you did, and then you see a Maserati that's like 80,000. Like, why do I need to buy that? Exactly.
Right.
Because it's nice and you can afford it,
Mm.
but can you really afford it?
Yeah.
Right.
Trust your gut. Like it's like just trust your gut. Like honestly, it's like, do you really need that? That $100,000, if you just save all of it and pretend like you never had it,
Yeah.
that could be coming back at you $6,000 a year,
Mm.
which is like $500 a month.
Say I'm
Forever.
making $100,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
And with this $100,000 a year, getting a super premium Ferrari is definitely out of the question. So, at how much of that $100,000 is affordable? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I spend $60,000 of that, am I being affordable? If I spend $50,000 of that $100,000,
I mean, all that
am I being
depends
affordable?
on your budget and what your bills are.
Mm.
Because honestly, if you're making $100,000 a year, even though it's not realistic, most people spend a portion of what they make.
Mm.
So if you're making $100,000 a year, you're probably gonna spend $50,000 of it.
Yeah.
It would be great if you could go down to maybe like 20%.
Right.
$20,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? But most people don't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
they end up spending all that money, and they end up having car payments that are super high,
Yeah.
interest super high,
Yep.
insurance super high because they got a super sports car, you know what I'm saying, a super car that ain't even,
Yeah.
they only made one in the whole US, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, dude, you're losing all this money on cars that depreciate, you know, maybe housing that may go up or down, you know what I'm saying, instead of investing in yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You really have to sit down and understand that you are investing in yourself. When you're setting a savings account and all that stuff, you're investing in you.
Right.
And that's, at the end of the day, it just comes down to confidence, man. You know, don't do all that extra stuff. Sit on that $100,000 and let it work for you.
Right.
Yeah. Keeping up with the Joneses, it's a big one.
Yeah.
It's like, say you moved into a neighborhood, the house is around $200,000. Everyone around you makes about $40,000 to $50,000 per household, and then you're over here coming in with $100,000. You feel like you're better than everyone else, so maybe you get a new house that's $500,000.
Just to show it off.
Yeah, just to show it off. So you get a $500,000 house, new neighborhood. Now everyone makes about as much as you make, but now you have a Toyota Corolla that's paid off, but everyone else has Ferraris and Corvettes.
Yeah.
So then you're kind of pushed to buy a
Yeah, you're
Corvette.
pressured to buy a Corvette.
Yeah. So it's just keeping up with them. Now you took on a car payment and a larger house payment.
Yeah.
Why did you need to do that?
Right.
So it's just like peer pressure, right? You feel peer pressured, but nobody's actually peer pressuring you.
Yeah, nobody
It's
told you
just
to buy
you.
that Corvette.
Yeah, it's just you fighting yourself. That's why most millionaires actually own an F-150. So most millionaires in the U.S., the most common car is an F-150.
I seen a nice
Yeah.
F-150 too
That's a
the
get
other
shit
day.
done kind of car.
Yeah, and it's literally like just a truck, and most millionaires live in a middle-class neighborhood.
Yeah.
So most millionaires are very frugal, and it's literally, if you live in a $200,000 house and you're making $100,000 and your house is paid off, and your cars are paid off,
Yeah.
Living beyond comfortable.
beyond
Yeah.
comfortable. You can
Because
do
you can
whatever
pay, you can
want.
pay your bills whenever you want. You can literally go on vacation whenever you want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because, you know, you live in a middle class neighborhood, what does that mean? You have an F-150, your wife got a Corolla.
Right.
You know,
You're not impressing
good.
anyone.
Right.
you're not trying to impress anybody. You want your money for you.
So what? So with this outcome that I feel like is the most desirable outcome for most Americans, to just be comfortable and sitting pretty.
Right.
What would be a long-term kind of like general outline that can get someone who, what Tevin was talking about, as far as like they're trying to take a step right now to the comfortable life where I'm sitting pretty and got enough money to be just comfortable.
I mean, you're not a drug dealer.
Right.
You're not finna go flip a 1,000 pounds of cocaine.
True.
You're a middle class American trying to work it out for yourself, your family, whatever. And it's gonna take time.
Right.
It's gonna take time and patience. You really have to be patient.
Right.
You have to understand that you're doing this for you, and it's just like working out.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get the super swole muscles after one day.
Like
You have to
that, not
keep
at all.
working out every single day
Habits.
Yeah.
over a period of time. Like you said, habits.
Yeah.
Until it becomes a reflex.
Right.
Yeah. I would do, like, honestly, if you're really serious about it and you want to take the first step, go online, type in compound interest calculator, and it will show you like how money grows at a certain interest rate.
Yeah.
So if you invest $1,000 with a monthly contribution of $200, so it's like you start off with 1,000 and you put $200 a month over 10 years, and it'll show your money growing like crazy in 7% return compared to your money just in a savings account or under your pillow or your mattress. And it's insane when you look at it, because after 20 years you'll be like, wow, my money under my pillow is only 15,000, but the one in stocks is 65,000. Such a big gap that you're like, why did I not start sooner?
Yeah.
So you look at stuff like that to motivate you, and then your income is slowly going to go up. The average income increase is about 2 to 4% a year. So your raise will slowly go up if you're in a 9 to 5 or whatever you do. So it's just like stuff will slightly go over.
My last question.
Go ahead.
How do you stop yourself from wanting to ball like it's your birthday when you got excess income?
Oh, self-control.
Self-control.
Hey, you gotta learn self-control. No nut November.
No nut
do
November.
this for your paycheck. Do
You
it
got
for
to.
your bank account. You don't need to do none of that excess spending. Hey, sit back and just kiss Thanks y'all for tuning into the Jab. We got some links in the description. I hope this conversation has really helped y'all out today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And follow us on our social medias and get hooked.
Bow.
Bow.